Welcome to the Down There Where podcast. I'm Amy Milne. This is the show where we get loud about women's below-the-belt health from menstruation to menopause and everything in between. So many women continue to silently endure issues like endometriosis, PCOS, menstrual disorders, and menopause-related challenges without the proper support. We're done with the whispers. We're here to break the taboos, share the stories, and have the conversations no matter how uncomfortable. Whether you're dealing with your own health journey, supporting someone who is, or just ready to join the movement, you're in the right place. Let's get loud. The day before her 36th birthday, Katherine Glyde was told they were treating it as cancer until proven otherwise. It started with a routine smear test. A nurse said, "I can't find your cervix. It's moved." What? Weeks later, Katherine was in surgery. Total abdominal hysterectomy, a 25-centimeter scar, surgical menopause at 36. My guest today is Katherine Glyde from just outside London, England, and the founder of the Surgical Menopause Club. She looked around at her age and stage and found nobody talking about this. No book, no community, nowhere to belong, so she built it herself. And here's the part that got me. Before any of this, Katherine had endometriosis, PMOS, abdominal, fibroids, PMDD, 17 years of what is wrong with my body. From her first period at 11 to a diagnosis at 28, she wrote off every symptom as probably just my endometriosis, because that's what we're trained to do. Push through, bleed through, smile, get at her. We get into all of this, the scans, the scars, the appointments, where everyone's crowding around you. How many people can look at your vagina at once? Why surgical menopause is a conversation nobody's having, the nicknames we're done with, and why community and funded research are the only things that move any of this forward. For the woman who's been told it's probably nothing, for anyone who's never found the club they belong to, this episode's for you. This is the Down There Where podcast. I'm Amy Milne. Let's get loud. I am so excited to welcome Katherine to the Down There Where podcast. Katherine, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to be here.
I'm excited. You're going to hear that she has an accent, and I did find her on the internet. As people know, if there is a theme when people listen to my podcast, I do stalk great people, but in a good way. I'm not a bad stalker. I'm a good stalker. Always looking for amazing people in the women's health space, and something that I know there is a huge gap. And when I found Katherine, I was like, wow, there is, and it's nice to find people in a similar spot. So Katherine is here to talk about her journey in surgical menopause. And so Katherine, please tell our amazing listeners all about you.
Thank you. Well, we have very different accents. I'm just outside London in England, so very different accents, very different part of the world, but great.
Yep.
So I had to have a hysterectomy 11 weeks ago, or for the day of the recording, it was 11 weeks ago yesterday.
Wow.
So in the UK, we have a smear test, which I think you guys would call a pap smear. I think it's the same thing.
Yep.
Where they check for cervical cancer, those kinds of things. And I just made a passing comment to the nurse who was doing it and said, to get really deep into the situation, she was like, "I can't find your cervix. It's moved." And I was like, "Oh, great." And I had this really big lump in the front of my stomach that was really hard. And I said, "Oh, is that why I've got this lump?" And she was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, I thought that was normal." And so she said, "No, we need to get this seen to. This isn't right." Left my smear test, not really thinking anything more about it, because in the UK, where we have the NHS, any gynecological wait list, you're looking at months and months and months before you get seen. So I just put it out of my mind until, so this was the Thursday. The following Tuesday, I get a call from the hospital to say, "You have been put under a 2-week wait," which for us is a cancer referral. And I was like, that's not what I was expecting, but okay. Thinking, they'll look at the report and go, "Oh, it's nothing. We'll just downgrade her to a routine referral and we'll see her in a year." And then the next day, I'm in the hospital having tests, having scans, having appointments. And it's one of those, everyone's kind of crowding around me. It was really scary. And so I'm 36 and The day before my 36th birthday, I was told, we're treating this as cancer until proven otherwise. And the whole world around me just kind of shattered. I would have taken it a lot more seriously if I realized it could have got to that point, but I'm also glad that I'm being seen and I've got all of that stuff happening. And so fast forward weeks of MRI scans, CT scans, appointments. So many people looked at my vagina. It's insane. I just had so many.
You're like, it's a viewing party. Great.
Who else wants to have a look? It was kind of crazy at that point of just every appointment was like, oh, we're just gonna have a little look. I was like, okay. And then I got the date. So 2 months and 2 weeks before my first appointment, I was in having my hysterectomy. There was no time for any kind of egg freezing. There was no time for anything really to think about because we had to move so quickly. So I had to have a total abdominal hysterectomy. So I've got a line scar down the front of my stomach, which is 25 centimeters. I made my mum, as soon as the bandage came off it, I made my mum get her tape measure and measure it for me because I was like, this is huge. And she was like, it's not that bad. I was like, no, it's huge. And she was like, it's 25 centimeters. So that felt, huge. Well, strange, but it is huge. So it kind of like gives you that perspective on actually what happened. So I had cervix, fallopian tubes, uterus, ovaries, the whole lot is gone. I'm on hormone replacement therapy here now and just navigating life post-hysterectomy. I got all the results and it was cancer. I'm now cured because the hysterectomy, which we knew would be curative, because they do, I don't know what it's like where you guys are, but for us, they think it's cancer and they'll check other organs before they operate and before they make, so they'll find out if it's spread and then go for their surgical plan once they know the situation. So for me, they kind of said we're 99% certain it's cancer, and the type of cancer it is, it will have spread to your lungs if it goes anywhere else. So we need to check your lungs before we do anything else. It's like, this is just the most overwhelming situation. Scary. And you feel like you're running on a treadmill, like everything is moving around you so fast, you're trying to keep up with it all. Every appointment gets a little bit scarier by the day. And then the next thing I knew, I was in having my surgery. I had the most incredible team. I was so well looked after. And then I came home, and then it was just, and you get discharged once you've got your results and you've passed your kind of 6-week recovery time. That's it. You just carry on with life again as though it hasn't happened. So yeah, it's that's kind of the very as quickly as I can possibly tell the story.
No need for quick on this podcast. No need for quick.
Love that. But yeah, so I had, it was not how I expected to spend the year, that's for sure. But also, I'm very glad that it got sorted and it didn't get any worse. And a lot of the symptoms that I was experiencing beforehand that I was kind of just writing off as something else have gone. So I actually do feel a lot better than I felt before the surgery. So in a weird kind of roundabout way, it was a positive thing to do. But yeah.
So we've got a lot to unpack there, Katherine, and thank you so much for sharing that. I want for people who are listening too, because people, we talk about all sorts of different women's issues here. You mentioned you weren't feeling well ahead of going to the doctor. So what were some of the things you were feeling and symptoms you were feeling before you were like, maybe I need to see someone?
So the kind of other half of the story is that I had endometriosis, PCOS, which now is called PMOS here.
Here too.
Adenomyosis and fibroids and PMDD. So I had a lot of women's health stuff going on beforehand. I got diagnosed with endometriosis first, and my symptoms started when I was 11, when I got my first period, and then I was diagnosed at 28. So 17 years of what is wrong with my body?
Quick.
What's going on?
Yeah, real fast. They just got right to it for you.
Got diagnosed with everything it could possibly be that it wasn't, and actually when you look back could never have been. But diagnosis times for endometriosis in the UK are horrendous. They are, I think
Same
the
here.
average is like 9.5 years now. So it's
Mhm.
just, it's ridiculous. Um,
It's
so
not okay. Like,
it's
it's
not
not
okay.
okay.
It's like, I don't
No.
understand why we're not angry about the situation, but actually
Yeah.
we are angry, but nothing's really moving forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, I kind of, any symptom that I had, I sort of just went, oh, it's probably just my endometriosis. Oh, it's probably just my endometriosis.
Right.
And you're so kind of programmed as a female to just push through and just to kind of go, oh,
Mhm.
well, I've got my period. I'm bleeding really heavily, but let's act like my whole world is normal. And that whole like really
Right.
empowering phrase of anything you can do, I can do bleeding is actually not
Right.
okay. Like how,
Nope.
yeah, it's really annoying. It's a whole other rabbit hole that
Yeah.
I could go down.
I
But
agree. I
yeah,
also
like,
don't like this, like, queenager shit either. Like, I'm not a
no,
teenager again going through menopause
no,
and perimenopause. I'm a grown
no.
woman
Yeah,
with, like, totally different
yeah,
experiences. I am not a teenager. Like, I hate
no,
that
no.
queenager oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay,
yeah. People say
continue.
it here too, and I'm like, it's so like degrading
No,
to the person
it
who has
is.
lived a full life, and suddenly you're calling them
Yeah,
a teenager again. Like, make it make sense.
yeah.
How is that? Who thought
It's
that
I
was a good
just
thing to call someone?
I know. And
Yeah,
there's women doing it
no,
too, and if they identify with
yeah,
that, great, but
yeah,
I'm to me, that just puts us right back into a box of something else. Like, I don't wanna
yeah,
go backwards. You
yeah,
know, how about I'm
yeah,
a mature woman dealing with mature women health concerns? How about
yeah.
that?
Yeah, and it's just like it makes, again, it kind of covers up the actual issue. Let's sort out
Agreed.
healthcare. Let's make sure people are seen. Let's make sure people have the right resources. Let's stop calling them silly nicknames. But again, if you
Yep.
like the nickname and it vibes with you and it's your vibe, you do you. But for
Right.
me, it annoys me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah, exactly. We're done. No queenagers and no I
yeah,
can do
no,
anything better bleeding. Like,
no,
no, thank
yeah,
you.
yeah,
Like,
no, thank you. Um,
nope, I'm
And
out.
so, yeah, kind of going back to like that kind of side of things, you have to have a smear
Mhm.
test here well, I was having to have them yearly because I had
Okay.
a weird result one year. And I'm at high
Okay.
risk or was at high risk for cancer anyway. So my GP was like, okay, you're going to have to just keep coming back for these. And it was literally just because I was due for that smear test that I said something. Had I not been due for the smear test, probably would still be living the way I was before and just
Right.
getting generally sicker and sicker. But it turns out for me
Right.
that it was the fibroids that had degenerated. Um, and it's
Mm.
not a common thing that happens. It doesn't happen to everyone, but
Mhm.
that is just what happened to me, that it degenerated, it became cancerous, had to come out, even if it, but for me, even if they weren't cancerous, they still had to come out because they were too big. They were
Right.
pushing on my bladder, my
Other
kidneys, all of
organs.
that stuff was starting to get damaged. Yeah. So the cancer side of it is kind of a whole separate thing, because the fibroids had
Right.
to come out anyway. So I would have ended up
Right.
like this anyway, regardless. Um,
Mhm.
and it would have had to have been an open procedure anyway. And when you
Right.
talk about hysterectomies, there's so many ways that you can have a hysterectomy. You can have them keyhole, you can have them open, you can have your C-section, like, and
Mhm.
everything brings a completely different recovery time, experience, hospital
Mhm.
stay. So even if you say to somebody, like, we've both had hysterectomies, probably completely different experiences. And you
100%.
can't, I'll,
100%.
I can't relate to someone who's had a keyhole. Someone who's had a keyhole
Yep.
can't relate to me having it open. It's,
Mhm.
yeah, it's such a strange, like, that, like, no, that's not the word. The ambiguousness, that's
Ambiguous?
not a word.
Yes.
That's it. Close enough.
Yeah. No, you
Of
got
the
it. Nailed it. We're
situation.
together on it.
Nice. Yeah. I'm blaming
Yeah.
menopause for the fact that my brain goes, it's just forgotten. The words that have been in my vocabulary for my entire life don't exist to
Right?
me anymore.
Nope, my
But what can
girlfriend
you
and
say?
I just had that right now. We were chatting and literally we were both she's here visiting my girlfriend Jana and I and we were literally we were talking about like the kind of fish that do this
Yeah.
and we're staring at each other like
Yeah.
my joke is always every day is a game of charades cuz somehow we're going to get
Yeah.
there where it's teamwork but we're literally just like staring each other in the eye like the
Yeah.
word's going to come like we're
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
use this.
Yeah. It's, yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's such a female experience. So you just have to be like,
Mhm.
please help me find the word that I'm looking for. And yeah,
Yeah.
you're just waiting for somebody to go, I know the word you're looking for. It's this word. And it's
Yeah.
okay that you've forgotten it because this is normal. This
Yeah.
happens to people.
Well, that's it. It's
And
normal.
yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I love that so I'm very sorry you've had to go all through this, and I'm very sorry you were ignored by the medical system. And it's crazy for me. Like, you and I live in completely different countries with different governments, with different medical systems, and yet there is a through line, which is why, when you talk about we need to be angry, this is why we're doing what we're doing. This is why you
yeah,
started the Surgical Menopause Club. This is why I've started this, and my event, because I want us to start raising money globally, because money is actually going to change our outcomes. We need research. And so,
yeah,
similar to you, I had endometriosis, and checking, living that experience to get us both to where we were at different ages and stages for a hysterectomy. Then when you like uncover this hysterectomy blanket, when you're all of a sudden now in this crew, to your point, there's so many different kinds of hysterectomies. Nobody is speaking to us in the same language.
yeah,
Like, you rebuilt my cervix. I don't know what that means. Like, are you taking my ovaries? Are you not? To your point, how is it even coming out of your body? What happened post hysterectomy? Like, and then, and one of the things that is something that is so close to my heart, and that I can't empathize with, but I want to help, is that women younger than myself, and we talked a little bit about this before we jumped on, but something that I'm, as I'm so in this right now, is that a woman at 24, a woman at 32, a woman like yourself at 36, having a hysterectomy is very different than me having a hysterectomy in my late
yeah,
40s, early 50s, for so many reasons.
yeah,
We can unpack the childbearing situation. We can talk about the fact of even menopause and HRT. The thing is different between you and I, Katherine, is that my friends, me at 52, I have common language ish, because we're just learning it all. To speak to, like, my friends are talking about HRT. My friends are dealing with brain
yeah,
fog and things like that. At 36
yeah,
years old, most of your female friends are likely just maybe if they're an early onset perimenopausal woman, maybe are dealing with it. So you and I, while we have ridiculously we're not in the same phases of life for this to even be relevant. And so that's one thing that I'm, as I look at the surgical menopause space, to learn more, because there's there's like less than nothing available for most of the things that you listed that we've both gone through. There's
yeah,
like nothing on surgical
yeah,
menopause at various ages and
yeah,
stages, right? From like your 20s to your 30s. Like, it is nuts to me. And what you're dealing with from a potential, and I don't want to speak for you, but the loss of the ability to have babies, to like, sure, I was done, but like, what is HRT? Are you on? Like, it's just, it is so, we are in a category of our own. And then we are in a category of our own generationally by age. And and there is nothing that we can find, in my opinion, on any of that. And to me, that is massively wrong.
yeah. It's it's so crazy because one of the main like appointments that really stuck with me, the way it works here, you come to the hospital, you go to women's outpatients, and then every gynecological type appointment starts in this one place.
Okay.
So you're then meeting people who are having early pregnancy scans or are having any kind of neonatal appointment, anything like baby related. And then I'm sat there, I'm one of the youngest in the room as well. And well, I say that I'm making an assumption there that I was one of the youngest in the room. I felt like I
Right.
looked like I was one of the
Yep.
youngest in the room. And I'm sat
That's
there
fair.
and I'm like, all of these women are having babies. And I'm in the same room about to find out that I will never have a baby. Like, how is this okay? And it's like nobody stops and
Mm.
says, could we not
Hmm.
have moved her? Could we not have let her wait somewhere else? There's a Starbucks downstairs. Could she not have waited in there and we give her a call?
Right. If
Like
you
all of
can't
that
give
sort of
you
stuff.
your own
Yeah.
waiting room,
Yeah.
because then
It,
you're also sitting in this waiting room with people that are look like you, possibly age and stage a little
well,
more like
yeah.
closer, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm sure there's nothing in that waiting room about surgical menopause and HRT. It's all about
Yeah.
birthing and
Yeah.
lactating and all those
Yeah.
things, which is great. People need that,
Yeah.
but that is not what you
Yeah.
need when you're
Yeah.
like when you
It's
press start on your
yeah.
adventure.
That actually was the day that I said to myself, I need to do something about this. However
I
this
love that.
situation turns out, I have to do something because I don't think I mean, my mum came to every single appointment and held my hand through the whole process, but I
Mm,
don't think I've ever been so
beautiful.
lonely as sitting in that room going, all of these women are having like the best time or about to do something that the universe really celebrates as well. And I'm about to have
Hmm.
probably the worst day of my life because I'm about to find out that they think it's cancer or they know it's cancer. They think it's spread to my lungs. I now need to find out what happens next. I don't know what that means for my life,
Right.
my career, my mum who sat next to me, all of that kind of stuff. And I was like, right, I
How-
need to do something. And at the time, I was very much like, I'm quite scared. So at the time, it was like, if I make it through this, this is what I'm going to do.
Mm,
And then it became, while I was in hospital after my surgery, I was like, okay, I need to do something about this. And I started it actually started with a video that I put on my Instagram feed, before I started Surgical Menopause Club, and I put it on TikTok. That was a video that I took
okay.
of myself just sitting up against the wall, and I'd said, like I can't remember how I worded it, but it was basically like, the pain of sitting, in women's outpatients surrounded by pregnant people, waiting to find out if you need a hysterectomy at 36 and will never have kids of your own. And so many people reached out to me and said, "Oh, I'm in a similar position. I'm like 28 or I'm 38." All of these kind of things. And I was like, okay, there is a there is a space here. I'm not the only one. There are more people. And the internet and social media is going
Mm,
to be how I find them. And so yeah, that's kind of how Surgical Menopause Club was born. And I just started talking about the story and saying I did like a video countdown and people were actually giving
mm-hmm,
me really helpful advice as well as saying like, oh, if
mm-hmm,
you pack, I remember one of the main things somebody said to me was take your hospital bag and then put a little bag inside it. So, because you're not going to be able to get out of bed. So, as soon
right.
as they bring you round to the ward or wherever you want to stay, get them to take that bag out and put lip balm, hand sanitizer, whatever it is you need, a phone charger, a battery pack, all of that stuff. And so it's just
Mm-hmm,
grabbable because you're not going to be able to
right.
get to your bag and unpack your bag the way that you
Right.
would. And you've not thought of that because
Right.
who thinks of those tiny details? It made stuff like that made the experience so much easier. And then you felt like you had people around you who understood. Um,
Right.
and kind of to the point of like how you navigate it at 36 when you're not, I mean, I skipped straight over perimenopause because I hadn't had any
Mm-hmm,
symptoms of perimenopause so far. So I just leapt
mm-hmm,
over that life stage. But
mm-hmm,
my mum had to
mm-hmm,
have a hysterectomy when she was 50. So the
mm-hmm,
actual like surgery itself, I did have some kind of support in that I knew what to expect. I wasn't obviously with her in the operating room, but I was around when she had that, when she was recovering. I kind of saw what was
mm-hmm.
happening. She's been amazing. But then my mum didn't have HRT. My mum was perimenopausal
Right.
before she had a hysterectomy. So
Right.
there's a whole gap of people where you're like, I don't know how to navigate this life
Mm-hmm.
stage. So you do end up speaking to people who have gone through menopause naturally, who are on HRT that are like,
Yeah.
oh, actually, do this with your patch, and this product will get the sticky stuff off of you from your patch. I was like, there's sticky stuff?
Mhm.
It's like, what are you talking
Yeah,
about? And
exactly.
it's all of
You're
those
like,
things
what?
that nobody
And
tells you.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
And
so you do kind
yeah.
of turn to like the generation kind of above you to go, how do I
Mm-hmm.
do this? And actually, I think that's
Right.
probably the biggest gift is finding the people who
Mm,
are going through this at such young ages and saying to them, okay, like oil will get that sticky stuff off and put that patch
mm-hmm.
where no one can see it. Like put it on your bum cheek. Don't put it anywhere else. If it moves, change it. All of those little like tips and tricks that you kind of pick up naturally, we don't pick them up
Mm-hmm.
naturally because no one thinks to tell us. So I think that's the
Well,
gift
and
that you can give.
yeah. And you're not back to like and your friends aren't talking about that stuff, right? Like you were talking about different things. My friends at my age are starting just, right? Like, I mean, Katherine, we're on like, I've been talking about my body parts since I was 14 and had my period because my life has sucked with endo and all those kinds of things. But again, you like similar to you, bury it, you just get through it, you kind of like navigate life in living in pain every day. But my friends are naturally talking about it. You're sitting around at cocktail parties or at the pub or on a walk or whatever, talking about very different things. And
Yeah.
so it's, but there are people your age that are dealing with it, but it's few and far between until you find them, because what we've all lived through is very lonely because there isn't community and hasn't been community until you've started what you've started, what I've started, right? Like, it's going to take all of us to, create this community, and in our own little pockets, we're going to be able to, it's the sum of the parts. And so
Yeah.
for question for you as someone is listening. So what was the experience from, I want to go back to, we'll talk about the club in a little bit, but I want to just, when you got out of surgery and it was like HRT, what hormone replacement therapy were you given? And were you given much conversation around it, or just like slap this on your body?
So I was given, it's called Everroll. I don't know if it's the same.
Okay.
It's a
No.
patch. I don't have the
Okay.
box in front of me actually. I think I've said it right. And I had a friend who messaged me who I work with who said, let me know what you're on. And this is the one. And I think the really key thing for that is to say what you're on before you ask the
Right.
person what they're on, because that's what she did for me. She was like, this is the one I'm on. I was like, sure, it didn't even
Hmm.
occur to me that you're on HRT. Like, it just, you don't think
Right.
about that sort of thing. Um,
Hmm.
because the decision to have my ovaries taken was made on the day of surgery, that kind of on me that
Mm.
that's the way it happened, but there wasn't a huge
Right.
amount of time to prepare. Um, the way it was working for me was that I could have left my ovaries,
Okay.
and then if it come back as cancerous, I would have needed to have gone back and had them taken out. And I was like, oh, this is
Right.
silly. I don't want two surgeries. I don't even.
No.
I mean, my ovary function was really bad anyway. And
Right.
even had it not come back as cancer, I'm still pleased I had them taken away because of looking at the histology reports and all of that kind of stuff. The function just wasn't there. So I don't know what they would have
Right.
done to support me
Right.
on their own. Um,
Right.
so that decision was made kind of the morning of surgery, and they're like, "Oh, it's fine. We'll give you HRT. You'll be fine." I was like, "Oh, okay. Is that not a conversation? Okay." And so I had my
Right.
surgery on the Monday, and they do it. I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but they do HRT patch changes on Mondays and Thursdays. So I was
Mm.
given, my patches were given to me on the Thursday because that's the day I was leaving the hospital, and they said, we'll get it to you in time so you can do that Monday, Thursday kind of changeover. So I was like, great,
Okay.
okay. The nurse gave me the box, and I was like, what do I do with that? Like, what is it? And she was like,
Yeah.
oh, let me have a look for
Exactly.
you. And she said, oh, you just put it on like the back of your arm? And I was like, do I? Okay. And then I spoke to said friend who said to me, here's like some of the things that you can do. Here's some of the things that can help you. She was like, why did she put it on your arm? It needs to go somewhere that's like fleshy and there's some fat round it. Like, put it on your
Right.
bum cheek. Like, that's the way, and it will catch less on your clothes. It's a bit more private. People
Right.
won't see it. And so yeah, after the following Monday, I took it off my arm, put it on. Well, the fresh patch went on my bum, but there was
Right.
no conversation. I had a
Right.
HRT review with my doctor. So my GP, general practitioner,
Hmm.
kind of. I'm assuming you guys have the same thing, that if
Similar.
you've got,
Yeah. We have a
yeah,
GP. Yeah.
yeah,
Same thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. Um, and I had to have a HRT review there. And they said the doctor is kind of unhelpful and just said, oh yeah, like, because I really, really struggled to sleep the first, I mean,
Mm.
really, it's only just kind of settling down, and we're at like week 11. And she was like, oh
Hmm.
yeah, that's normal. I was like, is it though?
Mm-mm.
Is it really normal? And I said,
Right.
I've got concerns about going up too high too quickly, because what happens when that stops working? If that stops working,
Hmm. Right.
because I'm so young, I'm going to be on it for a long time. And so she's like, oh,
Hmm.
then just start the same one. And that was my HRT review. So there isn't a huge amount of support. A lot of it is coming from doctors who share on social media. I can potentially get referred to a menopause clinic by the NHS,
Right.
or I can do it privately. Not really sure what the route to go down is, but yeah, there's not a lot of conversation. It's the same as like, it does feel like history repeating itself, because when I first went to the doctor about my heavy periods, I was told, oh, here you go, here, have the pill. And then that was it
Right.
for 12 years, I think it was for me, that you just
Right.
go, oh yeah, just eat that, you'll be fine. And it kind of feels the same, but I'm not 12 now. I can kind of, I
Right.
know where to go and get, and we have the internet, we have social media. Whereas that, well, I mean, we didn't have social media when I was 12. So there's an element of,
Yeah.
even though it's history repeating itself, we can change the conversation, I feel, because we've got access to so much
Yes.
more information.
Yeah. And we can advocate for ourselves differently because at least
Yeah.
we can see what's out there, right? And we can connect with people and say, hey, we might not know each other, but what you're putting out there
Yeah.
feels familiar.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that leads us nicely into the Surgical Menopause Club. So please tell me and tell our listeners what that's about, what you hope to achieve with that. I think it's so amazing because just before we jump into that, the other thing is too is HRT review for us post hysterectomy. I'm pretty sure we just lost everything, not just estrogen. Like
Yeah.
we're like progesterone, in my
Yeah.
opinion, not a doctor, not here to like investigate with the doctors that have the information. But progesterone, I was given progesterone, I don't know if you were, years ago for my endometriosis,
Oh, yeah.
as like one of the many drug therapies that someone were like threw it at the wall to see if it would stick. And so progesterone helps with sleep immensely. But it's like if we almost know more, like, and this is what, some of the doctors that have become vocal out on social, like the Dr. Mary Claire Cleavers and, of that sort, and even what Oprah Winfrey is doing. I don't know in the UK who's
Yeah.
kind of standing out, but these are some of the ones that I know that are talking about the fact of like, there's different ways we can handle things, but there's no one talking about surgical menopause in terms of, but we're learning more because our doctors, sorry, the point was because of brain things, is that, we're learning that doctors learn like 10 minutes worth of, or a day of menopause. So if that's what our gynecologists are being educated on, our GPs, like what, they're at anything. And now they're prescribing HRT. And I mean, I know for a lot of my friends, they go to doctor. I'll tell them what I'm on because I've done all the research and I have access to people and I'm doing all this stuff. And then I'll have friends that go to the doctor and they're like, yeah, my doctor said I shouldn't really be on it. I was like, so get another fucking doctor.
Yeah.
Like,
Get another doctor.
like,
Yeah.
what? Like, it's crazy. And so,
Yeah.
and similarly, I spent money and went naturopathically because through the Dutch test, they measure your urine over 24 hours so they can see hormone levels, because you can't see all the hormone levels in blood tests, but nobody's telling anybody that. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And so there is nothing for us leaving full hysterectomies other than like, I was handed a tube of estrogen gel and you were given a patch and it was like, see you in 2 years. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. It's just like, you kind of go out and go, my whole world has just changed and there's nothing. There's
Nothing.
absolutely nothing to help you. And I think, that's kind of where Surgical Menopause Club came from, was that actually there is nothing.
Nothing.
So it kind of that idea came from just that real deep, like, loneliness of the situation. Talking about it, and so many people were like, oh yeah, I'm going through it too. And like, if you look at TikTok, the amount of people talking about surgical menopause is unbelievable. And so many of them are under their like in their 30s, early 40s, which is just insane. In the UK, according to the NHS, there are 55,000 hysterectomies per year. So it's not a small number of people going through this. It's a lot.
No.
So I just kind of I looked around, I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find anything that also felt like me, again, because I wasn't very menopausal. I'm not I don't like calling menopause midlife either, because I'm in menopause, but I'm not in midlife. So it's kind of that I'm in that like frustrating place of it all. And so for me,
Right.
I was like, okay, I'm just going to create it. I'm going to speak to a few people, see what the vibe is. And everyone told me, yes, do it. It's a really good idea. It's really, really needed. So it's just on an app called Click. And it's essentially like, it kind of looks like social media, but it's not social media because it's very separate from
Right.
Meta and everything else.
Yep.
And there's an ongoing chat that you can come in, say hello, talk about what's going on with symptoms are more than welcome. I've been working as a coach for about 4 years now, working
Okay.
specifically within women's health and endometriosis and all of that kind of stuff. So
Oh, cool.
taking all of that there. But for me, when anyone says, oh, it's TMI, I'm like, no, no, no. TMI means tell me immediately. I want to know straight away.
Oh,
So
I
that's
love
the rule
that.
within Surgical Menopause Club. TMI means tell me immediately. And it's about having like a group of cheerleaders and a group of people that are like, yes, you can do
Mhm.
this. It is open to any age, any experience, any type of hysterectomy. However long ago you had it, we've got somebody in there who had hers about 10 years ago. We've got someone who is waiting
Mm.
for her date. So it's for
Mhm.
anyone. And I feel like there's such peace about being able to say to somebody, oh, this is something that really helped me packing, or this is something that really helped me,
Mhm.
um, a question to ask. So something quite like, yeah, peaceful about being able to do that for
Mhm.
somebody else. Um, we host an open house once a month. I half tempted to make them fortnightly because I enjoy them so much. And it is just a Zoom call. Come as you are.
Yep.
We do them Sunday mornings. We do them some evenings. Bring your dinner. Come in your pajamas. Whatever works for you. You're welcome as you are. You don't have to
Mhm.
speak. You don't have to turn your camera off or on. Yeah, don't have to turn your
Mhm.
camera on. You can do whatever you need to do to be there, but you are welcome and you're celebrated. And I love that
Mhm.
that person has turned up and asked a question or shared some experience. And then eventually, the plan is to make it more of a membership based. So the free
Yep.
option will always be there. So it will
Yep.
always be that
Beautiful.
chat space. It will always be open houses will always be there as a free option for anyone who needs them. And then we're going to
Mhm.
introduce guest speakers,
Mhm.
in-person events. There'll be opportunities to do some coaching with me one-to-one as well. Kind
Great.
of that forward thinking, how do I get through life now? What do I want to do now
Mhm.
moving forward? There's been a couple of conversations about retreats as well for people in surgical menopause. So we'll get some yoga
Mhm.
instructors in. We get an amazing chef to come and cook for us all. We'll go and like hang out by the beach. Yeah, all of that good stuff that you need as part of your recovery. So that is the plan, the kind of long-term
I
plan.
like that.
Always that free option. That is vital to me that free option will always stay, but we will extend it out into kind of more value, what else we can add to people, what else we can give
Mhm.
people, more conversations, more information as well. Like I'd love to bring a doctor in to come and talk about it. I'd love to bring a menopause specialist in to come and talk. And I want to go out and do more talks as well because in the
Mhm.
UK, we talk about menopause way more than we did 4 years ago, but I never hear anything
Right.
about surgical menopause. So we need to
Never.
change
Nothing.
that too,
Nothing.
because yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And if
I'm with you.
55,000 women are going through it every year, that's not okay. That's absolutely not okay
It's
that we're
it's
not
it's
talking
not
about it.
okay. No,
No.
because
Um,
it's still a club no one belongs to until you started
yeah.
it, right? Like as you've been
Mhm.
speaking, what I wrote down was I belong.
Yeah.
And what you and I say that for all of us in this situation, I've shared my story on the podcast and that, I had endometriosis and I didn't know anyone who had it. And when I was diagnosed, there was like one book and that was it. And, I didn't have the internet. I didn't, and so the women before me, even worse, but I didn't belong anywhere. Like and then I've shared openly that I then further didn't feel like I belonged because then as information was shared, I had kids. And so I carried this shame and guilt with me for so many years
Mhm.
that I was even further out of any club
Mhm.
because I had kids, so could I really be sick?
Mm.
Did I
Mm.
deserve to talk about my
Mm.
pain? Because
Yeah.
I was like, but I got the end result that so many want, but that's not the point. But because we weren't
Yeah.
talking about it and there weren't clubs for us and community, right? Like it's a club, but it's a community of
Yeah.
like-minded people. And similar to you, different stage, having my hysterectomy, I had literally Laura, who's been on the podcast already, an incredible woman, similar. And, she had bravely posted something about having her hysterectomy. And I was like, tell me more. Like she, similar to you, was like, pack this, do this. Here's links to the stuff on Amazon. And if it wasn't for Laura, no other human being was able to give me a hand. And my mom had a hysterectomy, but it was tied to cancer. So she
Yeah.
wasn't so much thinking about hysterectomy as the
Yeah.
fact that it was
Yeah.
the means to the end of the cancer. And again,
Yeah.
her experience very different in her 70s than mine, because now I have to, she's on the other side of,
Mm.
she's full
Yeah.
postmenopausal. So it's like
Yeah.
there is this category of human being,
Yeah.
us women, from the ages, basically from the day you start to menstruate to the day they can take those body parts out of us. It's the gamut. And
Yeah.
to your point, and I love it, and I want to be so careful with two things you said, like this midlife menopause thing. I want to make sure I remove that because that's not cool. It's education, so thank you for that, because menopause isn't just midlife, because of our surgical menopause sisters. And I love this TMI. Tell me immediately. I just think like I get goosebumps with that, Katherine. It's unreal. It's unreal. And I love your goals with the club. And so, thank you for taking your experiences and being willing to be brave and bold to share it. I mean, so many people will benefit from what you're doing. And I just want to say I love that you are monetizing it from a financial standpoint, because your time and effort and all of that, needs to be compensated, because while we can do things for the betterment of the world, you're out there advocating on our behalf, and it is a job.
Yeah.
Just like those menopause clinics that are popping up everywhere and
Yeah.
all the things, right? We need to create the resource for the places that we can be and meet
Mm.
so that we can be healthier.
Thank you. Yeah. It is
It's
the
crazy.
free option is very, very important, but it is
Yes,
a case
I
of
hear
the
that.
more value, the more I can build, the
Totally.
more I can do.
Yeah,
And there needs to be money, kind of
absolutely.
an income within that, but it will
Mhm.
obviously be affordable. There'll be options for everyone.
Yeah,
But it
for
is,
sure.
I guess, the calling. For me, it makes it
Mhm.
everything I do heals me a little bit more than I've realized. I
Agreed.
think since because this is the first time I've really spoken about it as well. Like
Mhm.
in a place like this, you don't realize how far
Yeah,
you've come because of,
right.
and you kind of reflect back on where you were. But yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
It's amazing. And I mean, I think we're kindred spirits in that. I mean, the surgical menopause piece is definitely one of my
Yeah,
pillars, because I've noticed,
yeah,
similar to you, all
yeah,
the all the stuff
yeah,
there that's not okay. And then I just know, given my background of being in fundraising and
yeah,
events, how much, money and time, can and resource can be affected by events. And
yeah,
I don't wanna just talk about it, because
yeah,
that, similar to when, we were chatting about, like, the words and the jokes and the memes and the things, it's like the one thing that's going to help all of us right now is community, what you're doing,
yeah,
and then is
yeah,
funding research. Because
yeah,
the only way any of this is going to move forward is as we fund
mm,
research, and that's, where I'm here to be like,
yeah,
let's keep going,
yeah.
because without a dollar raised, we're gonna continue to fall to the bottom of the pile,
Yeah, absolutely. And there's room
right?
for everyone to speak about it and
100%.
to have these like clubs pop up, have these communities pop up.
Mhm.
There's no like competition because we've all got the
No.
same goal. We all want to,
Yeah,
we can all work together, we can all come together. There's room for everyone. In coaching, there's a
100%.
really nice phrase of like, there's a coach for everyone, and for everyone, there's a coach. And in this situation,
Mhm.
there is a space for everyone. Not every space is going to be for every
Agreed.
person. And for every space, there's a person who needs it. So the more people we get talking about it, the more people we get doing things, the better it will get. It's not an oversaturated. I don't think it will ever be an oversaturated market when it comes to women's health. But yeah, it is an exciting time.
So far to go. Yeah. We have so far to go, right? Like if I think of how many coffee shops are on a corner, like just there's no room, to your point, for saturation for this because we are so unsaturated. Like it is like desolate. And so we're starting from there. And we need to connect over the water. We need to connect over the phone and the TikToks and all the things, because even there's still every day there's people who don't even know what you and I know, right? Like we think it's known because we've lived it and breathed it. And then you meet someone and someone's like, what is HRT? Or like, what, like, what's menopause? Menopause is a day. What are you talking about? Right? Like, there's so much miseducation. There's lack of community. There's lack of funding. And you're here to do your part and I'm here to do mine. And I'm so grateful I found you online.
Thank you so much for giving me a space to talk about it and to just accepting all the messy menopause brain stuff and giving me somewhere safe to actually say it all out loud to somebody new for the first time. So I really appreciate you. Thank you.
What you're doing is brilliant. And I know our listeners are going to want to know how to find you, Katherine. So how can they find you?
So they can find me on Instagram. It's just at the Surgical Menopause Club. I'm also on TikTok as Katherine, Katherine coaching. My actual business is Katherine Irene coaching, which I can send to you for show notes and stuff. But everything is kind of under Katherine Irene coaching and Surgical Menopause Club. Send me a message. Let's chat. I want to give as much away as I possibly can to people to help them. So just come and say hi.
I can't wait for the conversation we're going to have in 5 years and 10 years, Katherine, because we'll be connected through this journey and we are going to change impacts and lives. So thank you so much for joining me on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for getting loud with us today on the Down There Where podcast. If this conversation resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe so you never, ever miss an episode. And leave us a review. It would help us reach more women who've been told to suffer in silence. And here's the thing. Awareness isn't enough. We need action. We need funding. We need change. That's where the Down There Affair comes in. We're a global peer-to-peer fundraising movement putting menstrual health center stage, from menstruation to menopause and everything in between. Diseases affecting men receive twice the funding of those affecting women. Only 11% of research dollars go to women's health. We're here to change that. Visit downtherewhere.org to register for our next walk, start fundraising, or join the movement. We can't do this alone. Oh, and follow us on social at the Down There Affair, because this conversation doesn't stop when the episode ends. Whether you're dealing with your own health journey, supporting someone who is, or ready to demand the care we all deserve, you're in the right place. Getting uncomfortable is where change happens, and we're never going back. I'm Amy Milne. Stay loud.
Oh, that was binge-worthy.